Today I'm going to take you down my favorite street in Lucas. I've had the pleasure of driving down Blondy Jhune Rd for 27 years and have always appreciated it, and how many times I've come back and to the house and said, Rhonda, we're so lucky to live out here, because it really does feel like country, a small little country road. From right here, you're only about 8 or 9 minutes max to millions of square feet of retail, entertainment, top golf, semi-pro hockey, great dining. So you feel like you're country, but you're really not. We started out driving by on the right the model home for Homes by J. Anthony. Real pretty home inside, and he really loaded that home up. So you might want to go in and take a look at it if you got some time someday. It's worth seeing. He kind of put all of his neat features of homes into one home so you can see it all. These homes that he's built in here, this is are all of his homes. Kind of the name of the game out here is you either get a developer or a builder to hook up with a developer or banker or lender, and you buy these lots, and then you've got kind of a captured market. People have to go through you to build their homes, which can be good, it can be bad. It just depends on the builder. Homes by J. Anthony has done a good job with these homes. You know, it's impossible to make everybody happy, but I think overall they do a pretty good job building their homes, and they really give you good value for the money. They're going to be building a lot more homes than a typical custom home builder. They may do 3 or 4 homes a year, maybe a true custom builder, whereas Homes by J. Anthony will do, oh gosh, they could do 50, 60. Last time I talked with Tony Pruch, who is the owner of Homes by J. Anthony, I think he said they had 30 homes on the books. So that's a lot, and especially in kind of a slow market we've got right now. He has the advantage of buying materials at a much better price than the builders that don't have that presence and buying power. So that's one nice thing about his homes. You get a lot of home for the square footage. If you look at it at a price per square foot, it's pretty attractive. He can put anything into a home that you want, but to keep the costs without just blowing up, he'll put in all the features you'd expect, like hardwood floors, granite or marble countertops. Anything that you want in the way finish out, they can do. You can put a pool in if you want. They can do that for you. Realistically, these lots here are probably $750,000 for a 2-acre lot. Just be aware that you may be thinking you're getting a great deal on the lot, but the reality is they're going to make that up on the price of the home, because their costs in these lots are high too. Now you can see there's some lots on this side still remaining to be built out on, and we'll go to the other side of the road too, which is also part of Hendrick Estates. And Mr. Hendrick, I would imagine he was a farmer that owned all this property at one time. I suspect he was the one that named Blondy Jhune, maybe after his daughter or a family relation. They do that a lot out here. Estelle is an example. Natalie is a street name. So it's very popular on these country roads to find something like that. There's the model home for J. Anthony again. You ought to go in and take a look at it if you can. I promise you it wasn't built crooked. My camera kind of slipped on me a little there, so it's crooked. One of these days I'll show you how I do these videos. It's not high tech, I promise. I'm not Google Street Maps. It's mounting a tripod to the front of my cart, so I've got a nice unobstructed view with an old broom handle that rotates the camera left to right, and I put it all together with a narration. But it gets the job done for me. That home you see off to the left in the distance, we'll drive by the gate in a second, but that is where the builder lives, so if you've got something you need to talk to him about, he's not hard to find. And this is all Lovejoy School District, which is a big factor for a lot of people. Many people move out here specifically for Lovejoy. It is one of the top school districts, always in the top 3 named by the Texas Education Agency. Kinney ISD also serves Lucas. In fact, in Lucas, there's 6 different school districts, and there are only 10,000 people or so that live here. So you've got to be careful if you're looking for a specific school district where you buy your home or build a home, and I'll tell you a story about that a little bit later down the road. But you can see a lot of nice lots left. You know, some of them back up to trees, others back up to country club, and which isn't as desirable, obviously, but I think they've got a pretty high berm that'll block some of those noises. Nice lots back here on the cul-de-sac. After all the dust settles, you're going to be at least $2 million on these homes because of the square footage that's required to be in these developments. They want these homes to be of a big enough size that it maintains the structure of the community. You don't want a 3,000 square foot home on 2 acres. I don't know what the restrictions are in here, but it's probably 5,000 to 6,000 square feet. And at least, you know, most of this new construction coming on in Lucas, most of the homes I see are at least 6,000 feet, and some of them are up to 10 or 11, 12,000 square feet. So if you see a small home on a big lot, someone's probably going to buy it, take the home down, and try to cut it into smaller lots. I'll talk about that a little bit more here in a second too, what defines how big the lot has to be. As we drive up here to the entrance, straight across from the road, that's actually the builder's home. And he's either, applauded for having such an incredible home, or he's knocked because he really does light it up at night. I mean, it looks like Disneyland at night. You don't see that in Fairview. Fairview has what's called that's the home there, a dark skies policy, where the lights have to shine down and not up, but that's heavily lighted home. So, I mean, it's impressive, but a lot of people aren't crazy about it. Real quickly, I'm going to try to explain why everything that you're seeing out here is on 1 to 2 acres without going into too much details. Not only does these towns of Fairview and Lucas want that, but it's a requirement for septic systems to work. They have to have at least an acre. So those two things are keeping these lots large out here. This is where it really starts to get pretty in here. This is kind of how I remember it being early on. We were kind of worried when they changed this from asphalt into concrete, and they put some curbs in and some bar ditches, I believe, and we were worried they were going to ruin this road, but Lucas did a good job in maintaining it. We're coming up to an S-turn here. And that home to the right, that's a log cabin, if I'm not mistaken. I was in that, 20 years ago, I'll bet. But sits on a creek, really nice little home. Now we're coming to this little turnout right here. That's going to be a new development. And again, Homes by Jay Anthony, he's going to be developing that. I don't know himself or with participation with anybody else, but that was another piece of land that everybody had their eyes on and no one could buy. And now he's purchased it, and those are going to be gorgeous homes. They sit high on a hill. He's going to do a beautiful bridge on it. In fact, I'll provide a link to it, what I know about it now. It's got an aerial. So that will finish out Blondy Jhune. This is called Tokalon. And this was developed, and the homes were built, except for the first one here on the right, by Paul Billingsley, who was really the first developer and first high-end custom home builder out in Lucas. We sold this, I think it was 13 acres, if I'm not mistaken. We sold the land to him, and then it was easy to develop because the utilities were already there. He just started, cutting this into lots and selling these homes. But all behind that home there, and the ones we see on the right, that's a creek, and it's a nice, deep white rock creek too. You'll see a pond here. They're actually called tanks out here when you're kind of in the country, but it's with a fountain. That's a nice touch, and they keep that fountain running and kids play in it. It's pretty shallow. I've seen kids playing there all times of year, so that's pretty neat for the neighborhood kids. Privacy gates are very popular out here. Now the other side of the road, on the north side of Blondy Jhune, also called Tokalon. These are big homes. I don't know how large the smallest home is, but I'll bet most of these are at least 5,000 square feet, and probably they're up to 7,000 or 8,000 square feet. And that's really what you want on a big 2-acre lot. Now there's one thing I need to point out about Blondy Jhune and traffic. It's never really bad throughout the day and on weekends, but on weekdays between, say, maybe 4:30 and 6:30, the traffic becomes really heavy. And that's because those people are driving to or from Princeton, which is across Lake Lavon, and they're trying to avoid the choke point in Lucas at Lucas Branch Road in Southview. So just be aware of that. It does happen. It doesn't last long, and then it clears out again. I call it the town of Lucas. A lot of people, the city of Lucas. It's only about 10,000 people, so call it what you want. But it's not Mayberry, but it's pretty darn nice. And you got questions, you just park right in front and walk right in the building, and there's someone to talk to, the city manager and engineer. It's just a very charming little country town that's right next to some sprawling cities like Allen, Plano, and McKinney. This is what I call close-in country living, and I think this is why a lot of people move out here. It's not hard to convince them. The bad thing is it is so expensive out here. How many first-time home buyers can afford a $2 million new construction home? You don't see many of them. So we've got a real problem with the lack of number of kids in the elementary schools. We've had to shut one down, but the high school and middle schools are okay. And I'm not sure what the answer to that is. Now we start seeing the area of Blondy Jhune that I have always been fond of. We're running kind of right next to a creek right here to the right. I've sold a lot of homes on this street, and I'm not going to go down and name the ones that we've sold, but each one of these homes has a memory behind it, and every one of those home buyers are so happy that they moved out here. It's fun to work this area. I'd rather be here than any part of the Dallas area, to be honest with you. You can see the curbing they put in there. That used to be just kind of a drop-off, and the town of Lucas had to fix that. Now the property on the left, it was a large gravel pit, and I walked that years ago, and it is just, you talk about pristine, there is nothing back in there. It's got some huge swales, deep swales. The builders and developers were afraid of that property because when you have something like that, it takes years to settle, and you're going to have wavy yards. It's not great for the foundation. You have to take the piers down to bedrock. So, and I don't know what the depth of the bedrock is right there, but that was a really incredible property, and it took a single home buyer to purchase it, and they built their home way in the back, and I haven't walked through, but I heard it's a really pretty neat home. So I'm glad that in the end it wasn't developed out to other homes, and I know they're enjoying living back there in total privacy. Another quirky fact about this property is, technically, unless they've somehow changed it, it's part of a subdivision which is on the other side of a deep creek called Stonegate. And that's a gated community with 1 acre lots. I don't know if that had anything to do with someone trying to buy it and then do what they want with it, but I knew about that because we were selling homes and lots on the other side, and someone wanted an easement to it, to the creek, and said, well, we can give you an easement to it, but you're not going to be able to cross the creek. So anyway, whether that had anything to do with it or not, it still would have been very difficult to develop, and it turned out ending up for the right use. That was originally owned by Kenneth Enlow, an old, long-time Lucas resident. He lost his leg, and I guess it eventually became too much for him, and he just sold the property, but I'm sure he did well on it. There are 2 more stories I want to share about Blondy Jhune, and this is one of them. Because I go by this property pretty much every day or every other day, I've watched this come from a vacant piece of land, and then I started seeing something go up, and it was all steel construction. It almost looked like a loading dock for cars or trucks, and I knew they can't put any type of commercial back in here, so I couldn't figure out what was going on. And then the roof went on. My curiosity finally got the best of me. I went and knocked on the door and was greeted by the homeowner who actually lived on a smaller home on the property. So I explained who I was, and I said I go by this home just about every day, and I've been trying to figure out, what he was doing with it, and it's just so immense. Looks like now he's digging out a place for a pond, or I don't know, a koi pond, or whatever. So I'm going to have hopefully another visit with him, and he'll let me do an update on it. But if you visit our Facebook page periodically, you'll see that. This last piece of property here, the story on this is many, many years ago, at least 15, maybe 20 for all I know, I was called by a person who owned this property, and he said, I want to sell it now. He said I was going to build on it, and actually was starting construction tomorrow when I got a call from the Lovejoy either principal or superintendent, and he told me that I'm not in Lovejoy, I'm in McKinney ISD, which I didn't realize, and I don't want to be up there for whatever reason. Maybe it was the drive, it was because all the buzz is on Lovejoy, I don't know. But he asked me to sell it, which I did. I just assume one of these days someone's going to buy it. I know the couple who had it that I sold it to, but I don't know what their plans are. I've tried reaching them, never been able to get through to them, so who knows what's going to happen there. But that shows you, you've got to be so careful. Between 6 school districts, those lines, not only do they cut through the middle of subdivisions, they cut through the middle of streets, and believe it or not, some of them will cut through the middle of a home. And then it comes down, from what I understand, of which side of the home is the master bedroom on. Is it in one school district or the other? And maybe they split taxes somehow that way. But we've got Lovejoy, Princeton, McKinney, Allen, Wiley, and Plano. I don't know how many towns the size of 10,000 people have 6 different school districts. So there you have it. About a 1.5 mile little country road in the little town of Lucas, with a lot of history and a lot of things happening on it right now. It's gone forever with the way I used to see it, but that's okay. That's progress, and I've learned to live with it, and I still get to enjoy it every day. So thank you for watching.